Did you have dinner last night? Sadly, for many people in the UK, the answer to that question is no. Thinking about where your next meal will come from doesn't feel like something anyone should have to worry about. But for 1 million people in the UK, this is a reality. Even though we live in the 6th richest country in the world, more and more people are currently going hungry every year. These people in food poverty could be in this situation because they were made redundant, or perhaps their benefits have been delayed, or maybe they are struggling because of the rise in living costs without there being a rise in income. But imagine that these people in our community were no longer going hungry, that there was an initiative to provide a much needed lifeline for those who find themselves in a situation where they don't have enough money to fulfil the most basic of human rights, the right to food. Food banks provide that lifeline. They have become a vital source of support to many people who have nowhere else to turn, and the number of people using food banks has increased by 610% in just 3 years. Let's listen to Charlotte's story. In Reading, Ready Food, distributes over 120 food aid parcels a week. People can attend food banks as an emergency stopgap, and in any one visit, food banks can only provide 3 days' worth of food. You need to be referred to food banks, usually by social services, job centres, or the Citizens Advice Bureau, and also, as is the case with Ready Food, local organisations such as the Reading Refugee Group, YMCA and Reading Borough Council. Let's find out a little bit more about Ready Food's work.
Faith began about 20 years ago, as so many charities do, initially with just one guy who saw a need on the street and went home, made a flask of soup and took some sandwiches out to help a homeless guy. And then that sort of went on week by week, and he became aware how big the need was, but really met it from his own resources and through friends and volunteers. And almost right from the very beginning, there was an awareness that we're not talking about people who are rough sleeping necessarily, but people who are just desperately poor. And so over the years, we've grown both the street work, when we go out 5 nights a week with food and hot drinks for people, many of whom are genuinely rough sleeping, but also we've branched into what you see behind me, which is the Ready Food food deliveries to people who are in desperate need but who do have a roof over their heads. Over the time that Faith's been in existence, we've increased the number of food parcels that we've delivered to people, and we are now serving something like 25 to 30 individuals and families every week with a week's worth of food. Over the past couple of years, we've seen the economic situation in the country really bite with people. Every week we're getting referrals from social services in particular, and mental health and various other organisations, where people have just run into trouble. Someone has lost their job in the family, or you've got a single mum and she's lost her job, or she's just simply not coping.
The need in Reading, sadly, over this year has increased. I have a lot of referrals because of people having problems with benefits. Those problems might actually be resolved a few weeks down the line, but the issue is that there and then, because they literally live hand to mouth, some of those people, if they don't get a payment on Thursday or whatever it is, they haven't got any spare money. They can't pop to the bank, they haven't got a credit card they can use.
I'd be hungry. I originally grew up in Maidenhead, moved around a bit, came over to Reading because I got a job over here, moved in, lost my job, and my landlord wouldn't take housing benefit, so I was homeless for 9 weeks. Found a place, got in touch with Alana House, the Women's Centre. A lot of hardship because of drinking and other problems, and they referred me to Faith for food parcels.
The difference in these women's lives when we put them in touch with Ready Food is that that's one less thing to worry about. Women come to us in a real state of chaos. They've got a lot of things going on, and one thing that we would hope that these women wouldn't have to worry about was where their next meal was coming from and how they were going to support themselves. And Ready Food gives them an opportunity to actually be independent, not reliant on meal handouts, but actually able to sustain themselves within their own accommodation or wherever they are living.
People look at Reading, they think it's quite a well-off town. You can go, there's nice shops in the town centre, and I think people don't always see that there is a need, and there's needy communities in this town. And that first day we sort of went out into streets I'd never been to houses that they might look alright from the outside, and then when the doors open you can see there's no carpet. And there was one lady we turned up to just before Christmas, and the moment she opened the door to us and we were stood there with bags of food, she just completely burst into tears. For my part, if Ready Food didn't exist, I think there'd be quite a lot of hungry children in this town, and I see families and hungry mums and dads as well, because there are people that naturally divert their resources to try and feed the children, and yet they're going without.
So, why am I talking to you today about food poverty? Well, I am a Team V leader with the youth charity Be Inspired, and our current national campaign, Beyond a Tin of Food, aims to raise awareness of food poverty in the UK, and also to collect as many food items as possible to donate them to local food banks. So, I am asking you to please clear out your cupboards. If you have spare UHT milk, cereals, rice, pasta sauces, jams, tinned steamed or rice puddings, tea bags, instant coffee, tinned soups, tinned vegetables and tomatoes, tinned spaghetti, canned ready meals, for example macaroni cheese, tinned fruit, or biscuits and crackers, then please take part in our donation drive and help to prevent people in our community from going hungry this winter. If you would like to find out more information or to arrange a collection of your donated food items, or if you are 18 to 25 years old and wish to volunteer for the campaign to gain experience and earn volunteering awards, then please email me on sarah.lee@theinspired.com. Together, we can change the world, one campaign at a time. Thank you.